I saw a story how a man's life, so his marriage become unraveled within a drop, in an instant, basically. And the worst part, his soon-to-be ex-wife could care less. She got away with it in such a way that it made my blood boiled. Now, the woman, she could care less. She's cold. She's calculating. And the worst part, she got away with it. Got away with it. I'll be brief about it. This woman had a good man, what she calls stable and reliable. Basically, she settled for this dude. This other guy is a bad boy, a rebel, cocky, arrogant, and all that. He's the payment of bad boy that she loves. Basically, she's having a cake and eat it too. Now, she had two kids. Unfortunately, they weren't the husbands. They were the lovers. Now, they came in a situation where one of the kids got deathly ill, and they had to run a whole lot of tests. One of them is genetically. See, there's something better in the father's market if we can say something about it. That's when they found out, I think the son, they had a boy and a girl. They found the son's not his. They let it test, found out the girl's not his. And this wife showed no remorse. Oh, you be a good father, either it's not yours, biological or not. Let me stop right there. To women who think it's not that big a deal, number one, you still cheated on your man. Number two, trying to act like it's not that big a deal tells me where your mindset's at. And this woman could care less. In the end, he files a divorce and had his behind handed to him. She got everything. He lost everything. This poor man got to work the rest of his life, at least until his kids are grown, to provide a life that is going to benefit not just the ex-wife and the kids, but her lover. She arrogantly says oh, it's not my fault for he decides to date outside his league. But I tell this as a warning to you young fellas. Be about your purpose, and I'll tell you how. I can see you young men. I'm talking to you young men right now who probably still in high school, about to graduate, especially the guys who get ignored a lot. I'm talking to the guys, I'm not even looking at the popular guys. I'm not looking at the future Giga Chats. I'm not. I refuse to talk to them because they know girls will not leave them alone. I know there's a Giga Chats in my high school, but women will not leave them alone. I talk to the most of the guys that gets ignored by women. Yes, you want to get with a cute girl from high school you want so badly, but she ignores you. Okay, I can tell you straight on, and hear me out and listen closely. Forget her. I'm serious. Forget her. I don't care how bad you want her. I don't care every fiber. That's hormones. Ignore that. It's hormones. Ignore that. Number one, focus on your education. Whether it be college, technical school, or a job waiting for you, do that. Take care of yourself physically. Educate your mind. Stay focused on the grind. Ignore the women, especially these girls from high school who try to flirt with you, because chances are they're not serious. And don't get me wrong, if you happen to bump into a woman who can help elevate your game, who's about, making you a better person, who is for you and not for some selfish reason, but on means, God bless you. But I hate to tell you this, especially going to these college girls, a majority of them, they're all about partying, all about getting drunk, and all about themselves getting ran through by a good number of guys. And I dare someone to say that's not the case. I'm not going to say every single female who goes to college is going to get ran through, but a lot of them are, because quite simply, peer pressure. They don't want to be left out. Keep in mind, and the Bible says you will find a perfect wife. Find one who's not like the others. In other words, so you have 9 women who let dozens and dozens of men run through them like a track meet in the Olympics. Find one that's keeping herself pure and chaste. Go, and if you think about it though, the girl who is pure, chaste, and pretty much not about trying to compete on how many bodies she could get, yeah. In that sense, she's a true rebel. These women who think they get the most bodies are rebels, no you're not. You just like any other woman try to get the most bodies. The one who is more restrained, conserved, and reserved, and saving her chastity, now that's a real rebel. And the biggest difference is most rebels are frowned upon by God in the usual sense, but the fact that she keeps herself chaste and pure, to please God, that's a rebel that a Heavenly Father will get behind. But all in all, stay focused on your purpose. Study hard, work hard. As you get older, you will become successful. The moment you ignore these women, they will see it. And I bet you money, that same girl from high school you had the hots for if you want so badly, take another look at her. So unless that same high school girl chooses to stay chaste and not let too many guys run through her, and she's interested, that's one thing, but if she ignore you flat, but the moment she sees you show interest, even though she got ran through like about a few dozen guys, had 1 or 2 kids, walk away. You are not, I repeat, you are not obligated to take care of her or any of the kids. Because where were they when you were starting out? Where were they when you was like, try to get your grind on? Where were they? If you had a woman who will fix your lunch before you go to work and help take care of you, where you go to work or do your studies, wife material. If you had a woman who was loyal, respectful, and give you peace despite the worst day you would have, wife material. As these modern women, be very, very careful. Just pretend you're in the middle of a minefield, blindfolded. Be very careful. Pretend you're walking through a field of cobras when it comes to dealing with these modern women. And people say, why are you bashing modern women? Because in fairness, not all modern women are like that, but based on the video I saw, quite a few of them could leave you wrecked. Why do you think divorce is high, so doggone high? It's one thing if they've been abused. It's one thing to be cheated upon or the man having an addiction not dealing with. Yeah, by all means divorce them. But all because I'm not happy, that should be a warning that they're not going to take their wedding vows seriously. They won't. Like I said, when I saw that video, how this woman, she won. It's like the villain won, and all you can do is like shake your head. And the husband who's the victim, he suffers, and that's not right. And the most messed up part, ex-wife could care less. She said it's not my fault he believed her. It's not her fault that he trusted her. So, as I say, listen to your gut instincts, plain and simple. Otherwise, you be the next victim, the next chump, simp victim. And I don't want that for you guys. So, if you know anybody who's been a victim like that, I want to hear from them. Maybe your stories can help uplift them. So please speak up in the comments down below. Peace. You gotta listen along with this. This is called My Marriage Broke Because of Me, but I am not sorry. Gentlemen, this is a warning. Listen very carefully, and this is the type of woman you gotta watch out for. So listen along.
I'm Lauren, and for the past 10 years, I've been living the life I deserve. A beautiful house in the suburbs of Dallas, 2 amazing kids, and a husband, Mark, who works tirelessly to keep our lives running smoothly. I have it all, and honestly, I deserve it all. Sure, Mark isn't exactly the most exciting man in the world, but he's dependable.
Okay, that's one right there. He's not the most exciting man in the world. He's dependable, and she sounds entitled already.
He's the kind of guy who shows up, who works late nights and weekends to make sure his family is provided for. That's why I've always been careful not to burden him with things he doesn't need to know, like the fact that our 2 kids, Ethan and Lily, aren't his. You see, I've been with Caleb for as long as I've been married to Mark. Caleb is everything Mark isn't.
It's also called have your cake and eating it too.
Spontaneous, passionate, and, let's be honest, better looking.
To call her Jezebel is being polite. There's a lot of words, but I got worried about YouTube guidelines.
We met at a yoga retreat just after Mark and I got married. It was supposed to be a one-time thing, but Caleb and I had this undeniable chemistry. It wasn't just physical. It was like he saw me for who I really was.
Yeah, a 304.
A woman who deserved more than just carpools and Costco runs. He made me feel alive, like I was more than just a wife and mother.
Women like that not only should never get married, but should not be anywhere near men. Period.
first person I told. "Are you going to tell Mark?" he'd asked, and I'd laughed. Why would I? He'll never know. And he didn't. Mark was over the moon when I told him the news. He'd always wanted kids, and I figured, why ruin his happiness?
So the infidelity was not enough. Having another man's kids is. Let's keep going.
As far as I was concerned, it wasn't a lie.
It's not his kids.
Mark was going to be an amazing dad, biological or not.
Still not his kids.
Then came Lily, 3 years later. By then, Caleb and I had fallen into a comfortable routine. He knew his place, and I knew mine. I never let the two worlds overlap, and I've always prided myself on how well I've managed it all.
Burning a candle at both ends.
Being a mom, a wife, and someone's lover isn't easy, but I've handled it beautifully.
And you know what the scary part is? Women like that exist, but yet there are women who wonder why men are not quick to be in relationships.
Mark never suspected a thing. Why would he? I kept everything perfect. Dinner on the table when he got home, the kids dressed and ready for school every morning, and myself always polished and presentable. He had no reason to doubt me, and honestly, he should have been grateful.
Arrogant, arrogant, arrogant.
Not every man gets to come home to a wife who looks like she just stepped out of a catalog. Everything was going smoothly until Ethan got sick. It started with a cough that wouldn't go away, and before we knew it, the doctors were running every test under the sun. They asked for a detailed family medical history, and that's when things started to unravel. Mark rattled off his side's history: hypertension, diabetes, but none of it seemed to align with what the doctors were finding. They recommended a paternity test, just to rule out any hereditary conditions.
2 words that should strike the fear of every despicable, dishonest, cheating female. Paternity test. By the way, Mr. Donald Trump, make that mandatory across the land.
I tried to stay calm, but inside I was panicking. Caleb and I had always joked about how Ethan looked more like him, but I never thought it would matter. When the results came back, Mark's face was pale. "He's not mine," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. I tried to brush it off. "Does it really matter?"
I think it kind of matters.
said, rolling my eyes. "You've raised him like he's yours. Biology doesn't change that." But Mark wasn't having it. He demanded to know if Lily was his, and when the second test came back, confirming she wasn't, he completely lost it.
Shocker.
"How could you do this to me?" he yelled, pacing the living room. "I've given you everything, Lauren, everything!" I crossed my arms, refusing to back down. "And I've given you a family," I shot back.
That is not his.
"You think raising kids is easy? You think being the perfect wife is a walk in the park? You should be thanking me for holding everything together."
Yeah, even though he got a side piece, dude. Had a side dude.
Mark filed for divorce the next day. I could have fought it, but why bother? He wasn't worth the effort. Instead, I focused on getting what I deserved.
Well, I'll tell you later.
My lawyer was brilliant. She made sure I got the house.
She, mind you, she said she. I promise you that lawyer was a feminist lawyer. I promise you.
Full custody of the kids and a hefty amount of child support. Mark tried to fight it, but the court didn't care about his sob story. As far as they were concerned, he looked at me like I was a stranger, like he couldn't believe the person standing in front of him was the same woman he'd married. But that's the thing. Mark never really knew me. He fell in love with an idea, a fantasy, and now he was paying the price for believing it.
True. In terms of picking a wife, you gotta choose very wisely and carefully these days.
Even after that, he didn't give up. He tried to talk to Caleb, to convince him that he was tearing apart a family. Caleb, bless his heart, just shrugged and told him, "It's not my fault you couldn't keep her happy."
Caleb should be like if Mark is not one of these other guys who do things drastically.
That broke Mark in a way I didn't think was possible. He stopped fighting after that, stopped showing up, stopped calling. He became a ghost in his own life, just going through the motions. And honestly, that was fine by me.
Black cold heart.
Now, I'm living the life I've always wanted. Caleb stays over whenever he wants. The kids adore him. And Mark, well, Mark's working overtime to pay the bills for a family that isn't even his. It's funny, really. He always prided himself on being the provider, and now he gets to keep doing that, just from a distance. Do I feel bad? Not really.
Shocker.
Life isn't fair, and if Mark couldn't see that I was out of his league from the start, that's on him. He's the one who let himself be fooled, who trusted too much, who didn't ask enough questions. I don't owe him anything. What would you have done? Let me know in the comments.